Did you know your brain fires around 86 billion neurons every second, orchestrating everything you think, feel, and do? Or, here is a question. How much do you really understand about the 3-pound universe inside your skull? Let's find out. Welcome to the mind-blowing world of neuropsychology, where science meets the secrets of human behavior. Today, we're diving deep into how our brains shape who we are, why we act the way we do, and what makes us uniquely human. Let's get started. Our brains are incredible, but let's face it, most of us don't really get how they work. There's a common myth that we only use 10% of our brains. Spoiler alert, that's not true. Yet, this idea sticks around because understanding the brain feels overwhelming. People think it's just a mysterious box controlling us. And when things go wrong, like anxiety, memory lapses, or even addiction, we blame it on bad wiring without digging deeper. The challenge? The brain isn't simple. It's not a computer with an on-off switch or a muscle we can just flex. Misconceptions like these keep us in the dark about how it influences every decision, every emotion, every moment. So, how do we bridge that gap? How do we move past the myths and truly grasp what's happening upstairs? That's what neuropsychology is here to solve. Let's start with that 10% myth. It's been around forever. Probably because it sounds cool, right? Imagine if you could unlock the other 90% and suddenly become a genius or a superhero. Hollywood loves this idea. Think of movies like Limitless or Lucy. But here's the truth. Brain scans, like fMRI studies, show we use every part of our brain. Just not all at once. Different regions light up depending on what you're doing. Listening to music, solving a math problem, or daydreaming about dinner. So why does this myth persist? Because it's comforting. It suggests there's untapped potential waiting to be unleashed, and we don't have to work too hard to find it. The reality is messier, and way more interesting. Then there's the flip side. People oversimplify the brain when things go wrong. Ever heard someone say, "Oh, I'm just wired this way," when they lose their temper or forget a deadline? It's like we've turned the brain into a scapegoat. Anxiety must be a chemical imbalance. Procrastination? Blame the lazy neurons. But neuropsychology tells us it's not that straightforward. Take anxiety, for instance. It's not just too much adrenaline or a glitch in your head. It's a complex dance between your environment, your thoughts, and your brain's wiring. Specifically, how your amygdala talks to your prefrontal cortex. Misunderstandings like these stop us from taking control. We think, if it's all biology, what can I do? The bigger problem is that most of us don't even try to understand. We're happy to let the brain be this mysterious blob, something doctors poke at when it breaks, not something we can explore ourselves. Think about it. When was the last time you wondered why you felt a certain way, or why you couldn't or key? Shake a bad habit. We chalk it up to, "That's just me," and move on. But what if I told you that understanding your brain could change how you live? That S where the challenge lies. We're restuck between myths that oversimplify and a reality that feels too complex to tackle. And it's not just personal, it's societal. Look at mental health stigma. For years, people thought depression was just sadness you can snap out of, not a brain-based condition tied to neurotransmitter shifts. Or take addiction. Society often labels it a moral failing, not a rewiring of the brain's reward system. These gaps in understanding hurt us. They keep us from empathy, from solutions, from progress. So how do we fix this? How do we peel back the layers and see the brain for what it really is? Not a mystery, but a map? That's where neuropsychology steps in. And trust me, it's about to get wild. Neuropsychology is all about connecting the dots between your brain, S hardware, and your life, S software. Let's break it down. Your brain has key players. The frontal lobe, handling decisions and impulse control. The amygdala, your emotional alarm system, and the hippocampus, your memory librarian. These regions don't work alone. They're a team, wiring together to shape how you think and feel. For example, when you're stressed, your amygdala lights up, telling your body to fight or flee, while your prefrontal cortex tries to calm things down. Cool, right? But it gets deeper. Neuropsychology shows us how damage or changes, like a stroke or trauma, can alter personality or even erase memories. It's not just biology, it's the story of you. By studying these connections, we unlock why we laugh, cry, or even procrastinate, and how we can take control of it. Let's zoom in on the frontal lobe for a sec. This is your brain's CEO. It's sitting right behind your forehead, making sure you don't empathy. Blurt out every random thought, or eat that third slice of cake when you're already full. Damage it, like in a car accident, and you might see someone's personality flip. There's a famous case from the 1800s, Phineas Gage, a railroad worker who survived a metal rod blasting through his skull. Before the accident, he was calm and reliable. After, he became impulsive, rude, even aggressive. Why? That rod took out part of his frontal lobe, proving it's not just a chunk of tissue, it's the gatekeeper of who you are. Then there's the amygdala, your emotional bodyguard. It's tiny, almond-sized, but mighty. When you hear a loud bang in the middle of the night, it's the amygdala hitting the panic button before you even process what's happening. It's why your heart races during a scary movie, or why you jump at a shadow, but it's not always your friend. In people with chronic anxiety, the amygdala can get stuck in overdrive, firing off alerts even when there's no real threat. Neuropsychology helps us see how this little nugget shapes our emotional world and how we can tame it. And don't sleep on the hippocampus. This guy's your memory MVP. Ever wonder why you can recall your childhood pet S name, but not where you parked your car? The hippocampus decides what sticks and what fades. It's also super sensitive. Stress hormones like cortisol can shrink it over time, which is why trauma survivors sometimes struggle with memory gaps. But here's the cool part. It's not a one-way street. Positive experiences, like learning or exercise, can boost it back up. That's the brain's magic. It's always adapting. So how do these pieces fit into behavior? Imagine you're about to give a big presentation. Your amygdala's screaming, "Danger! Everyone's judging you!" Your heart's pounding, palms sweaty. But your frontal lobe steps in saying, "Chill, you've got this." Meanwhile, your hippocampus pulls up that practice run you did last night, calming the chaos. That S neuropsychology in action, showing us how the brain S regions team up, or fight, to run the show. But it's not just about normal days. Neuropsychology shines when things break down. Take Alzheimer's. It starts in the hippocampus, eating away memories until even loved ones fade. Or Parkinson's, where dopamine shortages in the basal ganglia turn smooth moves into tremors. By mapping these changes, neuropsychologists don just diagnose. They help us understand what S lost and what S still there. It's like a window into the soul, except it's science, not poetry. And here's where it gets personal. Ever procrastinate on a big task? That's your frontal lobe slacking, while your reward-seeking limbic system whispers, Netflix is more fun. Or what about love? When you're smitten, dopamine floods your brain, lighting up the same circuits as a good meal or a winning streak. Neuropsychology doesn't just explain these quirks, it hands you the reins. Once you know the why, you can hack the how. Maybe deep breaths quiet your amygdala, or a to-do list wakes up your frontal lobe. It's not magic, it's your brain decoded. Now, here's the game changer. Recent research in neuropsychology has flipped the script on how we see our brains. Scientists used to think your brain was fixed by adulthood, done growing, set in its ways. But a 2023 study out of Stanford showed something wild. Your brain can rewire itself well into your 60s and beyond, thanks to something called neuroplasticity. They found that learning a new skill, like playing an instrument, doesn't just sharpen your focus, it physically reshapes your brain's neural pathways. Even better, mindfulness meditation can shrink your amygdala, reducing stress responses over time. This isn't sci-fi, it's real. It means you're not stuck with the brain you've got. You can upgrade it. That, as the power of neuropsychology, It proves your mind isn't a mystery to fear, but a tool you can master. Mind officially blown. Let's unpack this because it's huge. For decades, the story was that your brain peaked in your 20s. After that, it was all downhill. Neurons dying off, memory slipping, focus fading. Sure, you could stay sharp with crosswords or Sudoku, but the idea of changing your brain? That was for kids. Then neuroplasticity crashed the party. It's the brain's ability to reorganize itself, new connections forming, old ones pruning away, based on what you do. And the Stanford study took it next level. They tracked adults aged 50 to 70 learning guitar for 6 months. Brain scans showed their auditory cortex thickened, their prefrontal activity spiked, and their memory scores jumped. It wasn't just practice, their brains rebuilt themselves. But it's not just about picking up a hobby. Take mindfulness. Sitting quietly, focusing on your breath. Sounds simple, right? A 2022 Harvard study found that 8 weeks of it shrank the amygdala in stressed out participants. Their anxiety dropped, their sleep improved, and their brains literally downsized the panic button. Why does this matter? Because it flips the old, fixed brain narrative on its head. You're not a prisoner to your wiring. You're the architect, and it goes deeper. Ever heard of stroke recovery? People who lose speech or movement can regain it, not because the damaged part magically heals, but because other brain areas step up. Neuroplasticity lets neurons reroute around the wreckage, like traffic finding a detour. Or think about PTSD. Therapy can weaken trauma's grip by rewiring how memories trigger fear. This isn't theory. It's happening in labs and lives right now. Here's a real-world example. London taxi drivers. To get licensed, they memorize thousands of streets. No GPS, just brain power. Studies show their hippocampus grows bigger than average, sculpted by years of mental mapping. Compare that to someone who scrolls TikTok all day. Different habits, different brain. That's the kicker. What you do shapes what you've got. Neuroplasticity means your brain's a canvas, and every choice is a brushstroke. So why is this the climax? Because it's hope. It's power. You're not doomed to repeat bad habits or live with a foggy mind. That temper you inherited? That fear of failure? That distraction habit? Neuropsychology says you can tweak them. Not overnight. Rewiring takes effort. But the fact that it's possible changes everything. The brain's not a locked box. It's a living, breathing puzzle you can solve. And that, my friends, is why this science is rewriting the human story. So, today, we'd have uncovered how neuropsychology reveals the brain's secrets, from busting myths to mapping behavior and proving it can change. Understanding your brain isn't just fascinating, it's the key to unlocking your potential. Who knew 3 pounds could hold so much power? What do you think? Has this changed how you see your brain? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love this, check out my other videos on brain science and psychology. Hit subscribe and let's keep exploring the mind together.